this is roughly the workshop about no code. So Bubble is one of the tools that I've been working on for the last 4 years. That's where the t-shirt comes from. Actually, I was on the co-living retreat with them. I would say X because I would come back later, but due to some things about the community, I decided to go to another technology, another tool, which is called Noodle. I will talk about it later because this is not also the main focus because we don't have a lot of time. And this is my Twitter handle, so I tweet a lot about no code and my learning journey because every time when you learn something, it's good to publish it online whenever you make progress or failure. And you don't know, but internet is magic. Anyone can help you, and that's the magic of internet. So yeah, the main reason that no code is starting to be trending, I think, is one of the skills that really growing during the past three years, is because we have around 5 million of applications to be built by 2014, 2025. So it's kind of a lot. And the problem was mostly because know how to code. No, not no coding. It's in French, sorry. So among those 0.3% of the population, only half of us code as a professional, means that it's our daily job. And that's where we make for a living. So meaning that we are not enough to build websites. And that's mostly because all companies in the world have two challenges for the next 10 years. Ecological transition, meaning that I have to reduce the carbon footprint and everything like that. And the second is a digital transformation. From the baker, from the restaurant, they all now are digitalized. Whether they want it or not, they can take deliveries from any, I know in Asia it's maybe Grab food or whatever. Yeah. So every businesses now is getting digitalized, and you can see that every single restaurant who are not on Google Maps, they won't get like customers. They would have be able to take order online, not just calling them by phone. That's what we used to do sometimes. So every single businesses will have to be transformed, but it's not their core business to have developers. I cannot imagine a restaurant having a developer behind to code, to take orders and things like that. And this is not their main business. So this comes where people know Shopify here. Shopify, yeah. So Shopify is if you want to sell clothes online and stuff like that, this is the great place. I would say don't code an e-commerce website, because back then, like 10, 15 years ago, if you wanted to open a web shop or any blog, you needed to know how to code. You needed to know how to do HTML, for example. And today you don't need it. Your focus is to sell a product, to make a good branding, a good brand, and taking care about hosting the server and everything else is not your job. So this is where you can come to focus to the most important point of your business rather than doing the technical stuff. And it's viable for any single business out there, unless you're doing ChatGPT, of course, you're selling tech. So it means that you cannot do no code with ChatGPT, of course. I mean, you cannot build a ChatGPT with no code. So no code is not new. In the 90s, I don't know if you know Microsoft front page, but I was born in 88, so I was 2 years old. I couldn't know that. But I heard about Dreamweaver. It's like, and anyone heard about, ever used Dreamweaver? I don't know. Okay, so I was too young. I could barely walk, so not typing on the keyboard, sorry. So I heard about it, but no one really, like all the developers, Dreamweaver, stuff like that, and it was pretty bad image back then because maybe these people who didn't know how to code or whatever. I didn't know that. I started to know about WordPress. I think I hosted one website on WordPress, but I ended up coding my own because I didn't like it. Yeah. But still, I think there's a stats, I won't say any mistake, but 60% of the web is running on WordPress, on website are running on WordPress. So it's really like, it's still here. If you're building a blog or anything, it's really nice. But it's just like it's gonna take maybe more time to like customize it and everything. It doesn't maybe have the look and feel of a modern website. 2010 Shopify with Squarespace. This is where I started actually. This is my first website builder. So basically, what I like about it, it was like, so Squarespace, a good thing was it was making website better than what I would do on my own, and I would be way faster, and it was beautiful. Because I was a developer, mostly when I made a website, it was black and white with inputs and buttons, and that's it. So I was, well, that's Windows. So really, it was one of my first experience, and I really liked it because I could just, just adjust the few things without coding and click on publish, and it was online. Because before that, I would have to purchase a server, deploy it, etc., etc., and I would take just like 3 days to set up a server, So that's what I like about Squarespace. It was one of my favorite experience, the no code that didn't have to work back then. Well, I didn't use Web Deep, but mostly those two I want to apply. And then comes where we are at today. I broke. Sorry. Okay. No code, no screen. So mostly what have changed, let's put it in. What have changed between this era and now? So now there should be AI too, because AI mentioned a lot of things too. Is that we have two things that came up into this equation. Cloud, everyone heard about cloud. When you don't have a physical server now, your data on Instagram is somewhere in the world, spread around everywhere. It's everywhere, nowhere. You don't know where it is. So there's cloud and APIs. So APIs means that we can connect each other's between them. The apps can talk between them, So those two things make those tools grow. I think it's a good guess. So without knowing it, you guys are already using no-code tools, and I will try to make some category to know where in the category, which tools are for which usage. Do you have any question on this slide so far? If I continue. So it's not new. It was even there before I was born, almost. And it will still go because of AI and everything. The tools that we know about today, so we all know spreadsheets, Google Docs, Photoshops, and you can see that the tools that are being replaced is like basically Airtable is actually it's not really replacing because if you're making complex business plans and stuff like that, Airtable is not recommended. But you can see the structure is the same as row and columns. Notion. What about Notion? Everyone is on Notion today. Yeah. So crazy. I was among the first people onto my friend. I was on Airtable first, and I said, "Oh, you guys, check it out. There's Notion." I said, "What? You told us Airtable 2 days ago. Now you tell us Notion." But now I'm sticking with Notion. But it depends on your needs, of course. But Notion is really like the place that you put everything, and you can share from there. You can even create a website with Notion. So basically, that's what I did for the agency because I was too lazy to do a new website and do the design, and I wanted to focus on content. So basically, the agency website that down. This is built on Notion actually. Whenever this is a table, and then they have some CSS to customize it. Whenever I update or add a record to my Notion on the other side, it will just update the content. So you can build your whole website out from Notion and having it branded to your domain. So it's called Superso. And okay, I'm not promoted any. I don't have any commission related stocks in those companies. I'm just sharing it. So yeah, if you like Notion and you want to display like relevant content that you have, this is the fastest way to launch a public face on top of the Notion. Going back to, so I will have a lot of back and forth because. And then, well, Figma, maybe if there's no developers here, no one knows Figma. So Figma is basically, this is where today if people are making a website, developers will ask you for Figma because this is, we need a design. Like, well, we know how to implement, but we're not creative enough to. So for example, I will show one of this project. So it's, designers do the Figma, developers look at the Figma and implement it and pixel perfectly. And a lot of people also create their websites or their ID into Figma and make it a demo so they can present to investors, because it's really always easier for investors to look at your app and say, okay, he understands the value proposition of what you're trying to solve, the issue, and you can make it clickable. Actually, this one is clickable. It's not a website, it's just a Figma that the designer draw, like basically like Photoshops. And he makes a few paths that is clickable. And this is the picture prototype. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing that it's easier for even for us developers to understand what feature we want to implement rather than just having like some text. Shoot. Okay. It changed a lot. This is the mapping. I will try to zoom in. No. But I can send it to you later. So there's a new tool every single week or whatever. It's really hard to keep up. And then I think in the end you would use not more than 3 or 4. So you have the one that we know Notion as an Airtable, so they call that base blocks. So basically when you create data and stuff like that, it's Airtable, Google Sheets, they are in the same category. And then you have the where's Notion? I can find Notion, but it should be somewhere here. And then for me the most important, and that the one that I use every day, is database and spreadsheets. The connectors, because you want to connect the apps between them and the web. Web, this is usually with Bubble and Moodle. It's basically the one that used the living. But you have people who are not into web, don't want to code, and want to automate process within a company or within a school. They would be really efficient in database and connectors. That works fine too. Because before, if you want to automate a process, you needed engineers to build like the website and everything. But today you can use just those tools, and it's like Lego. You plug them between them, and then it's just automating a lot of internal process. So that's the kind of name for these jobs. Like apps mean for operations, and for developers, it's like no-code developers. They're the ones who are building website apps and whatever. So whenever you are in this mapping, you will find a place, because there's any tool for anyone, even for gaming, voice, scrapping. Scrapping is like stealing data from websites. Yeah. Any question on the mapping? There's a lot of tools, it changed a lot. One of my favorites is Integromat, but now it's called Make. It's one of the most powerful ones to connect apps within them. And to be honest, sometimes I'm really lazy to code and just open Integromat and put my scenario. I can show some demo later. And this will be one of our first exercise to automate one of the use case that we want. So yeah. That's pretty. I don't do a lot of mobile. I think I tried Bravo, but I'm sticking to web. I don't know why, but mobile has a lot of things to do. Like there's so many people. Everyone has a phone. Not everyone has a computer or laptop, but mobile apps is getting huge. And I think especially in Asia, like everyone has a phone actually, a smartphone at least. So yeah. Any questions? Can we go next? Okay. So this is about the numbers. I don't really like to show that because It's just that Webflow is one of the, okay, Webflow is becoming the leader. It's replacing Squarespace because in terms of web, Webflow is built really for front website. Let's say you're making, I don't know, Airbnb or Uber is a good, Grab is a good example. Grab have a front website when it explains what it does, etc., the teams, the contact, the carrier, etc. And then when you try to log in, they will send you to a page where it's more like the apps, the core of the business, you know. I think we can try Twitter, though. Twitter should be a good, no, Twitter should be a good example. Oh, sorry, it's not Twitter, no, it's X. So like you see this page, it could be like if they were, well, they don't need to present it, but you know, the privacy policy, cookie policy, to be honest, all those things can be done by non-developers people. For a developer to update your privacy policy every time is really annoying, or changing the color of your button. This is what no-code was created for. If you want to change the color of the button, you don't want to send an email to your developer on Friday and then he fix it by the next week, you know. You want it to be like changed right away because it's more like a marketing stuff and then you won't waste his time. So this can be like what we call like a front website. And it's usually built with Webflow, which is one of the leader because it's really stable, it's really SEO efficient. And to be honest, it's quite, that's not a good example to show code. I think it's more for web designers because it looks a lot like Photoshop, actually, if you look at that. But it's really powerful because you can make any transition, animation that you want. And one of the best example is someone made Webflow PlayStation, let me see. Yeah. They build the interface of the PlayStation. So this is a good example of, I would suggest that every tool that you use, you try to look at what have been built with the tool. So this can give you an idea of what's achievable or not, you know. And so, welcome to PlayStation. Maybe there's some sound. Okay. So this has been built with Webflow, basically. But I think the guy behind that is really good. Like you see, this is impressive. I wouldn't be able to do it with code, to be honest, because I'm not enough skilled front end speakingly. I don't know if I can start again, but I think there would be a video playing. And I think they should, yeah, you know. But in this case, you're kind of pushing the limits of Webflow. You see those animations, the high definition and stuff like that. So that's a good question. Let's try to. Yeah, I don't think they thought about that. Let me. I don't know. No, I can open live website. Hopefully, it's still the live website. Yeah. So what you're talking about is responsiveness, meaning that when you're on the phone, does it resize correctly? Let's try. Did he do a good job? No. Well, you cannot play PlayStation on your phone, sorry. No, I don't think. If he didn't do it on this one, he wouldn't do it on. It's kinda, but it's broken. But still, he did a good job with that. But yeah, Webflow is responsive, and as you could see on this video, you have those. A lot of tools, they would have this like kind of screen, so you can directly see on the tablet, see on the computer, laptop, and phones. You know, so you can try it out. Yeah, this is the magic. Like you just click publish, and then poof, it's online. You just need to buy your domain name, though. Any questions on Webflow or or what we saw recently? No. Okay, I will pass the number, but Webflow for front-end websites, and Bubble mostly for everything that needs to be smart. For example, I can use my use case. Why did not I show the website I built? Okay, sorry, it's in French. I try to switch to English. Okay, so this is my first like Bubble apps. So you can see the front is in Bubble because back then I didn't know. Well, it was fine for me because I didn't have a lot of traffic. Basically, it's really like you have to think about what you really need and what's your problem. Sometimes you can use two tools. Sometimes one is better because you can go quicker. So this is basically Hacker House, the co-living spaces for entrepreneurs, like developers, etc. So people rent out a place to sleep and to work for a month or 2 months. It's basically students coming for an exchange, people who are starting an internship and then not staying there like longer than 2-3 months, or even software engineer who don't want to live alone and want to be living in a community. So those are the kind of people that we host. So you can see like a short video of like what is it to live in a hacker house. Well, this is actually a video from IKEA. I stole it by a while ago, so maybe we can cut this part. But again, I remember the first website I built was in Squarespace. I just had a sign up form. I didn't have like such. This is becoming a marketplace actually. People can add their space. They can, like for example, if I take the first hacker house, they can add their space, you know, they can choose the kind of bed they want. They can input the date. So basically it's like 1 month minimum. So I have some customization that on Airbnb I couldn't really do. So you can apply. Oh, Bobby, you're here. It's another Bobby. You know, there's the rules. Please introduce yourself because you're not just like, hello, I'm looking for a room. If you say that, we would just like throw your application away. And one of the example is where you can build. So this has been built on Bubble and it's really, you know, I don't know if you use Airbnb. So you have a kind of chat with 3 panels. Like you have like the thread here, the discussion here and that, and then, you know, you can, all the discussion that you have here, you can type add like attachments, and then it's responsive, hopefully. Yeah, you know, test passed. Don't fire me. Yeah, so request money, payments and everything. So yeah, I rebuilt basically this all from scratch, from a blank page. It was really a journey. I think it took me almost like 3 years to go from the website I built with. So before that, I was in basic code. Oh, I didn't say how I jumped into no code. So when I was running Hacker House, I was going to IKEA to buy the furniture, and at the same time, my website I have to take care about, like, you know, bugs, fixing, improving, and everything. And I couldn't code and run the business at the same time. And it's the same case at the restaurant. The restaurant wouldn't have to handle the website and then like serving the customer, right? And I was in the same situation. And I throw away my ego and say, okay, there must be someone who thought about like creating something that I can just like drag and drop things and then click and then put it alive, you know? And I was looking, and of course, one night I stumbled on Bubble, and I think I spent a weekend, the whole weekend, learning it and trying to build something. I said, wow, that's really cool. Because I could compare that, if I had to build it with code because I knew how to do it, how much time it would cost me and how much time it is make me more efficient, right? And after that, we can say, okay, I'm gonna migrate the whole website. And in 3 weeks, I think I migrated to this website. Of course, it didn't look like that at first. It was really more ugly. But then I think I was among the first one to say, okay, I'm gonna use Bubble just not as a prototype, but as a whole website. And the main, of course, I was taking a risk that if Bubble shut down or anything, I wouldn't have any website, so I wouldn't have any application. So I took this risk to say, okay, I'm just gonna migrate and see. Let's see how it goes, you know. And so far it's still working, and it's one of the. Oh, I haven't talked about the pricing though. Price is important, and this is why a lot of us developers are leaving Bubble because they changed things recently. Okay, one thing I should warn you. I mean, of course, you will take it when you, because there's two kind of companies: companies who are making money and companies who don't make money. There's a lot of companies who are not making money, but who are really big. For example, the companies who raise a lot of money, but are not profitable or whatever, you know. If you're not making money, I think if you want to test out an idea, Bubble is great because you can start really quickly. I mean, in terms of like, if you want something quite custom, but you don't care about performance and stuff like that. So basically, if you pay monthly, you start with 0, you can play with it, but actually, I think it starts around 32. This is the price I still pay today. So it's really cheap for having like a technical, it's basically a technical co-founder. He's your CTO, he can handle everything. You draw. I saw so many people who didn't know how to code and making a business. And of course, when there's a problem, they call me. When I come, I'm still impressed by how they are able to output a really, you know, good results. Even if behind is really like dirty, messy, the database design is really bad. Like you wouldn't do that as a developer, but it just works, you know. And they do business with that, and that's fine, you know. I would prefer having someone who is making a living with their business, even if the code is dirty behind, than someone who is coding their website for the past 5 years and didn't have a single customer. That was me, like, basically. So now I think it's fine to use whatever tools, as long as you have to focus on the problem you're solving rather than on the solution. People don't care about the solution. No one will go there. No one will go to my website and inspect the code source on my website and to see which technology is built. Only developers do that, you know. But most of the people, as long as they're paying for something that you're making their life easier, that's the end of the story. And that's the most important part of the story that you have to remember and keep it, you know. So back to Hacker House. So yeah. Mostly people can create their listing. I have like a calendar. Oh, I really struggle to make the calendar actually. I use a plugin, blah, 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 but it's not really pretty, but it's doing the job because I just needed to see like, okay, how's my occupation rate, you know, between the house. So there's different house. Yeah, but they're fake house too. Yeah. So yeah, and then, you know, I try things to add some like analytics in front of each. So it's really about playing fun because code is meant to be recycled. You know, you write code, then you throw it away. It's never written on the stone, and you cannot erase it. It's really like you try things, you test and learn, you fail. I think mostly you fail more than you succeed. And the most interesting part is like the payments. So when the payments come, we take the payments by credit card, and then it splits between the owner and the platform. So this is really like what we call marketplace, meaning that the website itself doesn't operate the space. For example, Grab, they don't own the scooter and the driver. They are not the employees. They're just a middleman. And then they take a commission out of every transaction. So yeah, and then, you know, you can make fun things like a wall of reviews. You can even connect Instagram, so it syncs the Instagram photo on your website. You're really like free. You have almost like the freedom as a developer to make whatever features comes to your mind, usually. If you want to become a host, you click on that, and then I think I didn't do this feature. Yeah, somehow, like, you know. So yeah. There's some, oh, it's in English, that's why nothing is played, sorry. But it's fine to have bugs, to be honest. Some people wait for the perfect moment to push online. No one, trust me, if there's bug, people, and really important bug, people will send you an email and you will fix it. Bugs are faster fixed when it's live than just on your computer. So don't be worried to push to deploy your app. So yeah, just keep the market. It's not important. So the people who use no code, sorry, there's a French part, but I couldn't remove it. Don't know why. You have individuals who want to have like a portfolio of your skills, rather just like a CV, curriculum vitae. Yeah, because it's way better. I think everyone now in tech have their own website to showcase your past experience, your work, and everything. Or run a side project. I think each one of us have a problem to solve, or a problem that is not solved yet, and you want to solve it. And it's a really good thing. Like you would take, like, I prefer someone to work like every single, like maybe 1 hour or 2 hours per day. You know, those 1 hour and 2 hours per day in a year makes a lot of things, and you're basically adding, like, incrementing your product. So I saw a lot of friends having a side project and quitting their full-time job when their side project was making twice the earnings of their salary. And you're more like in trust, in confidence, because you are not jumping out. Like, it's not like me, you quit your job, you have nothing, and then you have to make money, otherwise you would be sleeping on the street or go back to your mom's place. So a lot of people start by a side project, making some, it can be earning that top up your salary, or some people just replace the salary by their side projects earning. So it becomes from side to main project. You have freelancers, basically. So individuals can be newsletter. A lot of people start a newsletter and they earn a lot of money. You have freelancers like me who are basically a lot of, before no code, when someone wanted to build a website, it could cost around $60,000 for a project, because developers are expensive. As you can see, only 0.3% can know how to code, unless you hire in India, but then you're not sure about the results. Now people can create a website quickly for clients, and clients just want something quick. You have startups who haven't raised money yet but need some proof of concept, who have a few customers to raise some money. This is what changed as well, because if you didn't have a technical co-founder back then, it was impossible for you to build a product. If you're 3 designers, 3 sales, or if there's not someone technical in your team, you couldn't build anything. And then SMBs, basically, as we talked, the restaurant or all those kind of business. And then you have the enterprise who wants their dev team to be more focused on the main job, and then having people doing automation on the internal process. So the first question before going to no code, do I need to know how to code? I won't lie, if you know how to code, it helps, because I think the most 3 important skills that would be passed along your journey is database. I don't know if you guys did some SQL or stuff like that, database relationships, stuff like that, but it's still important. I'm sorry to say that. I didn't like it, SQL, so I'm one of the first who didn't like it. But you realize that it's everywhere, and it's even in our pocket, because your phone has hundreds of everything is a database. Without database, no data will be stored. I mean, mostly. So knowing how to code helps, because you know how to architecture stuff. You know how to find a problem when you have performance or security, and you know how to. I think it's to learn how to learn. You know, to apprendre, learn to learn. Yeah, because the answers usually is between Google and you, or now ChatGPT. But even now ChatGPT, you have to interpret his answer, because on the few times I use it, few times he was wrong, but I could tell it because I know how to code. But sometimes if you take it as a single source of truth, it can be a problem. And that's where we're gonna face the problem, knowing that ChatGPT is the single source of truth. So what will happen to developers? Because all of my friends who are developers are worried about their job. I would say ChatGPT have more chance to kill their jobs than no code. Because, well, I think you would have developers who are going to use ChatGPT a lot. They would be way more efficient and faster. Now there's tools, no-code tools such as Bubble, not yet, but Noodle, the one I use, they have a ChatGPT box inside. You say, create me a function that takes an input of that and output a graph, and then poof, he gives you the code, and then you just need to link it in your editor. We still have a long way to go because ChatGPT or no-code are not humans, so they are not able to have this empathy of like listening and trying to have this creativity or really learning what you want. But we're coming. I mean, ChatGPT is just not even a year old, and every single friends who are building something is on AI because right now, if you've seen a movie like Iron Man or whatever, you know, Jarvis, it's gonna be the same. Like I think it's in Black Panther. The girl didn't have like the right sequence for the genetics, and then she, oh, can you try that? And he recomputes the whole sequence of DNA, and then he said, okay, 70% of chance, you know. So you still have a human who will give the order, or like maybe, you know, the maybe to ChatGPT is for him to, the AI, I would say, to him to find the results. So I would say, there's someone on LinkedIn who asked me like, in 5 years, where will you be? That's the question. I say, maybe I would earn 0 because ChatGPT will replace me. We never know. But again, AI, if there's a artificial intelligence, what's the use of us, you know? That's another question. So for now, we have a lot of apps to build. We have a lot of problems to solve. So we still have like opportunities. Well, about the money, I think that's not the question here because this was also for the computer science school because students, they were more like, okay, will I get how much I will earn when I get out of the school? Basically, the problem with the problem is that since you have people who have entry level and they don't know how to code, the entry level of the salary is really lower than someone who knows how to code. So the range is quite large actually. Because for developer, it's a bit less because to be a developer, most of them need to do a 5 years, a master degree. Even if there's boot camp now, they need 9 weeks, but I don't believe that you cannot be an engineer 9 weeks. But there's a lot of opportunities. I think for me, I'd say to people, like, I would prefer to be a good no-code developer rather than an average developer. And the most important is just to have fun, I think. So whatever you use, just have fun building things. And in true worlds, no-code is cheaper because the time you launch is reduced, it's faster, and I think I have a lot of fun building things. You have an idea at noon, and then by the day after, you can deploy, you can publish. That's one of the biggest advantage. But also it leads to less customization because on code you can do whatever you want. You are more dependent, meaning that if you're on a Bubble and if tomorrow Bubble closes their shop, you're living without anything. And going back to this topic, I think when I started Bubble, I was looking through, like, can I export the code? Because when it's not your code, it's not really your app, you know, because as I said, if Bubble closes or they run bankrupt, that's okay. That can be possible, you know. Well, your website is down. So I remember back then someone asked, and the founder responded, oh, if we close, we're gonna release open source or editor so people can still host their own Bubble and run their own website, which is not the case now. I think there was so much money. I mean, I think there was so much money, and VCs was really, they were really pushing them to be like more profitable because we are hundreds of thousands of people using. I don't know if you are millions, but I don't know what's the size of the community, but we're a lot. And some people in the community say, okay, just trash your VCs and we can all put $1,000 And it was actually because they raised $100 million. So actually, so the problem is to be more dependent. It's a risk, but actually you're dependent on anything. But the first thing you have to prove is, does your business make money? That's the first thing you have to take into account. And the second thing is harder to maintain. I think as your team grows, I think it's the case for Bubble at least, is that it's hard to collaborate on a single tool. Sometimes it's laggy and everything, especially the editor is in the US. So basically, if you're in the Philippines, the connection can be a bit slow, and you would have delay. So yeah, that's it for me.